It's Jackie, and this is the Natural Healing Reel. This is the podcast where you actually can have information to heal. And today I have another amazing guest. I'm so excited to speak with her. She is an author. She's TEDx talks, like I'm watching her videos. Her information is powerful. It's easy. And I'm going to introduce you, Elaine Starling. How are you? She's the Abundance Ambassador. So if you are looking to get a different view on how to get into the flow and create a different space and experience, this is the information. How are you, Elaine?
I'm thrilled to be here, Jackie. This is going to be so much fun. I've been looking forward to this for weeks, really, because your energy is palpable. I can feel it. I feel energy before I connect with people, and it's just amazing. And when you were starting to introduce me, I almost interrupted you to say, hey, takes one to know one.
Oh, that's nice. This information and what your journey is, most of it's almost like we have to hit the pavement, we face plant, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, so now what? And that's kind of what happened in the story that I'm hearing from you. Do you want to share some of that?
Yeah, it was really interesting because
there's a lot to share here.
There's a ton. There's a ton. So wherever you want me to go, I'm more than happy to give you the answers because I think all of us share a lot of things in common. I had my own business and it was doing okay, but there were so many new things coming into my marketplace that it was getting to be really challenging. And I needed to figure out, how do I restructure what I'm doing? And I just couldn't see a way. And I was telling my husband actually on my birthday in early December that I was going to stop thrashing. I was going to stop trying to figure it all out because so many areas of my life were really blessed and amazing. And I was just really not getting it with my business. So I thought, just let it go, relax. And at the end of the month, we went to New Zealand on vacation. And on New Year's Day, 2005, we'd been in New Zealand for a week. We had breakfast. We're walking around the shops that are open. And all of a sudden, I get tunnel vision with little sparkles around the outside. And then my right arm went numb and the right side of my face went numb. And those are classic signs that you're having a stroke. Well, my husband walked me to a little medical center. They gave me an aspirin. They took me through some different exercises and they said, yeah, you're having a stroke. And, it was really funny. I felt great. I felt like it was a lazy Saturday morning and I was just going to hit the snooze alarm and roll over and just relax. I just wanted a nap. And so finally, I asked if it was okay for me to take a nap. And they said, yeah, there's nothing else we can do. Go ahead. And as soon as I relaxed, I found myself inside this cloud. And I was part of it, and it was part of me. And I felt this cloud say, this is perfect. And somehow I knew the cloud was talking about me. And hey, I was raised a good little girl. And I'm like, what are you kidding? I'm not even remotely perfect. I don't speak multiple languages. I haven't solved world hunger. I am not all that. And immediately I heard, oh, you don't understand how it works. See, you are deliberately designed with your skills, abilities, talents, interests, preferences, and your issues, your hot buttons, your faults, your foibles, your challenges. And we put all of that together to create exactly what is needed right now. You are perfect because of your imperfections, not in spite of them. And it was like, whoa, Toto, we are not in Kansas anymore. I was like, wow, something weird is happening here. And every time I would ask a question, I got an answer back in my body, 360 degrees, past, present, future, colors we can't see, sounds we can't hear, far beyond human understanding. I say it's kind of like, imagine swallowing Google whole with all the likes, the shares, the videos, the keywords, everything, all at once. Every time you ask a question, just boom, There it is.
Massive download.
It was amazing. And finally, it was kind of funny because it almost felt like I was at this big mixer inside this cloud. And I felt other entities going by, hey, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, good to see ya. But I was in the middle of this amazing conversation and I didn't want to get distracted by all the other stuff that was present. So I was really focused on asking my questions. And eventually I was kind of running out of questions and I heard, are you sure you're done? And I was like, well, no, we're halfway through our vacation. It's amazing. You should check out New Zealand. Oh yeah, you probably know about it. But anyway, we're having a time. And they said, no. You were done thrashing. If you're sure you're done, we can use that ectoplasm for something else. Are you sure you're done? And I knew that I was really close to something important. And if I chose not to come back, I would have to start all over again from the very beginning to get back to where I was. And I said, no, I'm not done. And I heard
this, can I interrupt you for a
Sure.
second? This experience that you're having, right? Are you hearing anything? Or it's just this natural knowing, like it's just
an
almost like the
internal knowing.
Yeah.
It's an internal knowing and a voice. But again, I'm in the middle of the stroke. So the other thing that was really interesting is my physical senses, sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, none of that. And I was kind of asking about that. And they said, yeah, that's very, you use that when you're physical. But when you're not physical, you don't need that stuff. I was like, okay, when in Rome. But I heard, get back and get busy. And I came out of it with absolutely no damage. None. No damage at all. Just seriously amazed and freaked out by this incredible experience. I wasn't even sure it was real. I didn't tell anybody, not even my husband, for 3 years because I was so freaked out about it. But I kept getting downloads. I kept getting messages. I kept hearing. And
probably a good thing that you didn't share it because somebody would have ruined it for you with their judgment and then perception. And
yeah,
that's amazing. How cool is that? I mean, I've heard many stories of that, and you almost have to be in that perfect space, right? Where you're not like the whole Dispenza work. I've done that for a long time. It's like you're nowhere, nobody, no time, space, and you just get yourself into that void. And when you
may I give you a
that's where that
shortcut?
instant healing can happen, right?
May I give you a shortcut?
Yeah. Of course you can.
Great. So if anybody's driving, it would be great if you could pull over rather than be driving, but please join us in this. All we're going to do is take 3 long, slow, deep breaths together. And as you breathe in through the nose, think the words, I am. And as you breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. Let's breathe together 3 times. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe out, consciousness. And as you rest here in this deeply peaceful place, you feel how thoroughly loved and cherished you are. You feel that connection to all that is, this space of infinite divine grace is who you truly are. Your energy flows from this space, and you can come back here anytime you want with 3 deep, slow breaths. Take a deep breath in, and when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into the room.
So powerful, right? Thank you.
It's amazing. And, we think it has to be complicated. We think it has to be hard. We think it has to be difficult because then we haven't earned it. But the thing that's so ironic is we are it. The abundance you're looking for is you. That's what makes it so challenging to find.
You know what? This information is so important. The information that you have that you're sharing, the setting the intention and then putting intention and then putting your attention towards and seeing yourself. It's the days that I've done that in my life. Those are the good days. Those are the days I'm in flow. Those are the days where it's fun and we're so the world and the fear and the busyness of the kid, and we are so easy to I am so easy to, and I know this stuff, I read it, I love it, you know what I mean? And it's so easy to let those things pass, right? To not set that intention first thing in the morning. Seriously, it takes a very short period of time.
I can tell you why. Because we are Weebles. I don't know if you are familiar with this little toy that babies have.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall
Weebles wobble,
down.
but they don't fall down. It's got a round bottom and it's designed for babies to play with. This one plays a little tune and you roll it back and forth. Well, we are Weebles. We wobble all the time. And there's a specific reason for that. During my stroke, they asked me a rhetorical question. They said, okay, everything is love. The chair you're sitting in is love. The computer you're looking at is love. You are love. The divine, the God of your understanding is love. All there is love. So how do you expand love if everything is already love? I was stumped. I had no clue. And they said, well, we decided to create human beings who don't think that everything is love, so they get to enjoy contrast. The difference between what is wanted and what is not wanted causes this friction where you have the superpower of choice. You either step back in fear and stay in your comfort zone, or you step forward with grateful curiosity, love, and compassion, not knowing what's coming, but welcoming it as a blessing. And it's your job to figure out what that blessing is. Every time you step forward, you expand the divine. You have been physical many times in the past, and you will be physical many times in the future, because this is the rock star place to be. This is where creation happens.
100%. Here's the problem. We don't really understand that. It is so simple. And when you say that and somebody hears you say that, we're like, of course, that is a natural knowing. That's a natural truth, right? But we're so busy judging ourselves and doing the not enough and doing that we don't even know that we're doing it. And I'll tell you what, that deep dive of that work, when the same patterns keep hitting you in the face, right? It's like, okay, like I feel like you're doing the work. I thought I cleaned that up, but we don't see ourselves 95% of the time, right?
Yeah.
It's
it was really
so
funny.
easy for us to slide into these societal patterns that have been set up for us to, we're victims from the time we're children, every time we fall down, right? Oh, right. So
okay, I want to reframe that just a little bit, because since every time we are out of alignment and we deliberately choose to go back into alignment, and the divine wants to expand. So what are they doing? They're constantly knocking us off kilter, right?
But we don't know that. We don't understand that. I was beating myself. Oh my God, there I go again. I should have known better. I should have done better. I know this stuff, right? And so even when we know this stuff, the messages I think that I'm trying to say is it's so important that we know this. So
it is
simple, and there's a process. There's a way to do it.
Yeah.
There's many ways to do it, but we're not doing it.
I think that of us
Many are.
sometimes temporarily forget.
Yeah.
And then we get to a level of discomfort where we go, wait a minute, it's time for something better than this. Then we get back into alignment, and all of a sudden things start to make sense again. It's whenever we experience resistance, that friction where I don't like this, I don't want this, I'm not into this. That is a sign that we are getting disconnected from the divine, from the God of your understanding. And there's an opportunity for you to reconnect. I want to share a quick story with you, because I'm human. I have these experiences too. So I was out running errands, and I was driving my husband's truck, and it's kind of a large vehicle. And frankly, me and spatial awareness have a distant relationship at best. And so I'm backing out of this parking place, and I'm trying to be really, really careful that I don't hit anything. And out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody flying through the parking lot. And I'm thinking, wow, that is not safe. That person's nuts. And I'm slowly creeping out of this parking place. And all of a sudden, somebody honked, and it sounded like they were right behind me. Oh boy, I went from happy, joy to pissed off in a nanosecond, just like boom, triggered immediately. I was ranting in my mind. That person didn't just get dropped on their head as a child, they were dribbled repeatedly. And all of a sudden I was interrupted by the divine, and they said, honey, We keep telling you that every single experience is designed to be a blessing for you. Every single one. Now, that story that you're busy telling yourself does not sound like a blessing. We want you to make up a story where having somebody honk at you is actually a blessing. What would that sound like? I was a little resistant at first because I was having fun on my tirade. But finally, I was like, well, maybe I was about to hit something. And they didn't have time to put their car in park, jump out, run around, knock on my window. Lady, wait, you're going to hit something. And
Right.
all they could do to save me a lot of time, money, frustration, expense, it was honk. That's a really good reason to honk at somebody. That is a blessing. And then I thought, well, you
Absolutely.
know what? They had a different vantage point on the parking place. And I didn't think I had enough room, but as soon as they honked, I hit the brakes, cranked on the wheel, and I squeaked out of that parking spot. I didn't think I could make it, but maybe it was like a thumbs up. You've got this. You're good. You can go. And so they were helping me out. And then the real message came through. All this time, I've been the bad guy. I've been blocking my blessings because of the stories that I tell myself. Every time I tell myself that this is making me a victim, I don't get the blessing. Every time I tell myself there's a blessing in here and I just don't see it yet, but it's coming to light very soon, then I get the blessing. So the stories we
Exactly.
tell ourselves make a massive difference.
Exactly. And that, I think that was what I was trying to share, is just that finding when you're in a struggle and you're on right to not be able to feel victim and to be able to not look at it is sometimes so challenging. And so I don't get it, right? I'm not supposed to look at that. How am I supposed to deal with this when this is in my face? And I mean, you know what I
Well,
mean?
I
And I
have a
and I
little
think
inspiration for you.
and
A
I
little,
just think that's a societal thing that it's that learned pattern. Like you're saying, you just flew right into a behavioral pattern that you probably saw your parents doing and they saw their parents doing, or whatever that we do unconsciously. And I don't, it's just so awesome. Anyway, I'll let you carry on talking, but this victim thing, it's huge. It's big. It's such an awareness, and I know for myself, it's been a muscle to develop, because it's the awareness, first of all, that, oh, right, I got to get out of it. I got to change this story because it's just getting bigger and worse and uglier. And
yeah, it
it's
was
hard
really
to understand
interesting.
it all though when you're in the thick of it, I guess, is what
It can be.
yeah.
And I find that what I say to myself makes a difference. So a few months ago, I was in my kitchen doing dishes. And I was just kind of musing over, sometimes you're working on a project and it just comes together easy peasy. It's a snap, it's a breeze, no big deal. And then there's other times you're working on a project and it is a freaking slog. It just, every challenge, every roadblock, every problem, every issue, you name it, you get nowhere fast. It's just incredibly frustrating. And I was wondering, why does that happen? And I immediately felt and heard a very loud, forceful voice in my body that said, when you deny your power is denied to you. When you acknowledge your power is shown to you. You are more powerful than you can imagine. And I was just like, whoa. And I put down the dishes and I dried my hands and I went and wrote it down. I'm like, okay, I got to figure out, how am I denying my power? When am I denying my power? Every time I tell myself this is going to be difficult, I deny my power. Every time I tell myself, oh, this is really confusing, I deny my power. I am choosing to eliminate certain words from my vocabulary. I am eliminating want, need, try, because want leaves me wanting, need makes me needy, and try is just very trying. And instead, I can use words like I choose, I intend, I desire,
I
because that
allow.
has power.
It was a good one for me, right? It's like, okay, I'm doing it, but then you have to let it in.
I have a story about that too, because during my stroke, it was freaking amazing. I've never felt such unconditional love in my life. Every atom, every molecule of my body saturated with this love that you just can't express in human terms. And I've been blessed in my life to have some amazing relationships, but this was, believe me, a cut above and then some. So I come out of the stroke and I'm like, wow, I want more of that unconditional love. Give it on tap, like all the time. Hold the stroke. I'll just take the love. It was like Niagara Falls of love. And I started doing all this research, and everything I read said you just have to allow. You have to relax and open and allow things to come to you. So I was allowing my little heart out. And yes, I would get downloads every once in a while, and they always felt really good when they came through. But it was a lot more like a leaky watering can than Niagara Falls. And I had the luxury of the big time. And I'm like, but I want that. How do I get that? And I heard, what is the image that comes to mind when you think of the word allow? Now, I never put anything on anybody else. This is strictly my relationship with this word. Everybody has their own relationship with different words. Just feel the energy as I describe what my experience was. Well, as soon as I heard that question, I immediately saw myself behind a door with a chain on the door, and I'm peeking out the door at the divine, and I am freaking terrified because I don't know what to expect. I don't know how to control it. I can't anticipate it. How in the world am I going to make this happen? And all of a sudden I realized, oh, for me, the word allow is a mind-based word. And my mind likes structure, cause and effect, a series of simple steps with a proven outcome. In fact, a guarantee would be really nice. And I realized, well, I can't have that kind of relationship with the divine. It's so much bigger and broader than anything my human mind could ever understand. I need a word that's a heart-based word that really represents the kind of relationship I desire with the divine. And I had to think about it. It didn't come to me right away. But I finally realized that my word is welcome. So now I welcome the divine. I welcome wonderful conversations like this because I don't have to control it. I don't have to be in charge of it. I can just allow the blessings in, welcome the blessings in, and experience unbelievable opportunities.
I think just the big thing, and as the years keep going and we keep attracting more of the same, really, it makes it so much more difficult to see ourselves, right? Like, I love the fact that you were able to just have that whole feel, knowing, like, what an incredible, well, you were meant to share that, right? That was so that other people understood that this is where we're going, right?
And everybody can do this. Absolutely
Yeah.
everybody. So what I want you to start doing is to say, I am receiving blessings, divine downloads and blessings all the time. So whenever something comes to my awareness, I'm just going to write it down. And I might not understand it at first. In fact, another great story that I have to share with you because it's so relevant to what we're talking about. I call it the tomato juice story. So it comes from a wonderful book called The Magic of Surrender by Kute Blackson, Kute Blackson, The Magic of Surrender. And Kute's dad is known as the miracle minister. They were originally from Ghana in Africa. They moved to the UK, living in London, and he had over 200 churches. And every time the miracle minister would go to preach, people were cured of cancer. Somebody who was paralyzed could walk. Just amazing miracles happened everywhere this guy went. Just incredible. And Kute grew up going to this church. He was around his dad all the time, but he got a chance to sit down with his dad as an adult with a different perspective. And he said, okay, Dad, tell me about one of the miracles that you witnessed. What happened? What was going on? And the miracle minister said, well, the king of Ghana was in London at his home there. He had had a stroke and half of his body was paralyzed. And his people reached out to me to have me come and pray with the king and his wife, the queen, for his complete and perfect recovery. And so I was there in his home, in his bedroom, and I'm praying over the king. And I get an image of tomato juice. So I asked his wife, do you happen to have any tomato juice in the house? She said, yeah, I think so. You want me to get some? That'd be great. So she brings back a little glass of tomato juice. And as the king drinks the tomato juice, they hear these loud cracks and pops. And all of a sudden, the king jumps out of bed. He's moving around. He's fine. He's not paralyzed anymore. And Kute said, wow, Dad, How did you do that? And the miracle minister said, well, God healed the king. I didn't do that part. What I did was I stopped questioning the message. I stopped having to understand the message first. I didn't have to judge it or critique it or evaluate it before I shared it. And that really brought home to me the message I received when I was washing dishes. When you acknowledge your power is shown to you. You don't know what your power is first. You have no clue, no idea. But you declare, I am receiving blessings all the time. And then you let them come in, you welcome them in, and you view everything as, okay, I may not see the blessing entirely in this situation. What might that blessing be? There's always two things going on. You either are practicing a level of mastery you already have, or you're discovering that you need a slightly higher level of mastery and you're being trained in something new. Why? Because you're a weeble, you're wobbling. You're being given that
with no
opportunity.
contrast, we wouldn't be growing.
Exactly.
Right. And so
exactly.
That's the other thing that they say, like, the harder you fall, lucky you, right? And it's like, okay, that's a great way to, if that's the lucky thing, right? But then when you actually understand that the stronger you become and the more pliable and the more hopefully, right? I think that if we have this knowledge that of how we actually energetically work in the universe, this is important. It's easy and it's basic, but you have to be diligent to want to understand how to be the best version of ourselves, right?
Yeah, and the thing that's so
gift.
funny, the thing that's so funny is people think they don't matter. They think, well, I'm just me, I'm not all that. I'm not doing all that much. Everybody has that
even
mistake.
The ones that pretend that they're like full of themselves, like even the worst, not loving themselves.
Well, I came across something really fascinating. It's a book called Connected. It has a really long subtitle, The Surprising Power of Our Social Networks and How They Shape Our Lives. Just remember Connected. Amazing book. Nicholas Christakis and James Fowler. These two guys are university professors, sociologists, and they were really curious about the whole 6 degrees of separation thing. And they want to know, how connected are we and how much impact do we have over each other? So they and their grad students did this massive research study, and they discovered something called the 3 degrees of influence rule. It turns out that you have influence over your friends, 3 levels away from you. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I wonder how many people that is. So I asked Dr. Google, and she came back with a recently published article in the New York Times citing some research that says the average American knows about 600 people. And I thought, what? Not a chance. There's no way. I spoke to a couple of friends of mine who are very knowledgeable, and they said, that's really low. Closer to 1,000 people. And I was like, okay, hold the phone. I did not do the math, but let's just use their number and see what happens, see what that looks like. So if you imagine a bullseye where you are at the middle of a bullseye and there's 3 rings around you, that first ring is the 600 people that you know. Well, every single one of those 600 people knows 600 people. That's 360,000 people in your second ring.
Network marketing, girlfriend. Network marketing at its finest.
Yeah. And every single one of them knows 600 people. That's 216 million people. So according to these social scientists, every single thing you think, feel, say, and do ripples out to 216,360,600 people. You being your best self is the most powerful thing you can do for the planet. Now, that's not the freaky part. Here's where it gets freaky, because they measured the actual impact that you have. It turns out that when you're having a good day and you're feeling high vibe, those 600 people in your first ring are 15% more likely to have a great day just because you're having a great day. And the 360,000 people in your second ring are 10% more likely to have a great day just because you're having a great day. And the 216 million people in your third ring where you're like, there's not a way in the world. Oh yeah, they're 6% more likely to have a great day just because you're having a great day. And I get it. You're not always having a great day. That's okay. It's kind of like dodgeball. Nobody wants the negative energy. They're like trying to move around it. The important thing is for you to remember you're connected to 216,360,600 people, including me and Jackie. And we're almost always having a great day. So you can attach your energy to ours and allow us to lift you back up. You are so much more powerful than you give yourself credit for.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. It's great information, right? I know we are. I know we are. And we don't have the knowledge. I mean, there's many that and have seeked it and get it and are awake and stuff. But with all the COVID and the fear and the war and the right and all the distractions get us to look to keep us in fear and not in love. And it's so big, and so that we're just in this huge brink of the world and ascending, really, because
Yeah.
it's so intense, right?
Well,
And it's meant to be, right? And so if we could just understand that, yeah.
so I want to speak to that because it is a huge issue that all of us face, all of us deal with. And I was doing an exercise called the 7-day mental diet. It actually came out in the 1920s. It's been around a long time. And the whole idea behind the 7-day mental diet is you deliberately ignore anything negative and you do not gossip. You don't say anything nasty about anybody. You really try to stay in a very, very positive. So here I am trying to stay positive, and I'm being bombarded by, talk about conflicts around the world and natural disasters. And then I'm in the grocery store and I get to overhear an argument. It's like everywhere I go, there's this conflict going on. And finally, I asked the divine, what's going on here? Why are you throwing all this in my face? I'm trying to be positive. And I heard, we are guiding you and you are guiding us. I was like, okay, tell me more. And they said, every time you see something that you don't know how to improve yourself, like maybe you see a homeless person, or you hear about people who are starving, or you hear about terrible fires that have burned down people's homes, whatever that is, all you need to do is envision those people as whole and healed, and everything is good in their world, and direct love and blessings to them. That is our indication that we need to bring our energy to support whoever needs help. But
This
we
is so
expect you
huge.
to direct it. So every time you notice anything, send love and blessings. Immediately send love and blessings.
So I was, I went through a lot of trauma and just multiple. I was coming concussions and deaths, and it was just crazy time. And people, the judgment, right? Like, you look horrible. Oh my God, I'm so worried about you. And I'd be like, okay, you know what? Like, that's such a negative. Like, you are not helping that person. You need to see that person like, you know what? I see that you're good. I see, like, you're well. I see you well.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we need to do that for each other,
Yeah.
because when you're viewing somebody else when they're down, you're not helping yourself, even though you feel almighty and powerful that you're bigger and better and got your life together, and that person doesn't, because that's how it feels when somebody's coming at you with their word. Oh, I'm so worried about, oh, did you see so and so? She looks horrible. She's like this. It's just a cesspool. And it's not helping the person saying it. It's not helping our environment. It's not helping. And this is big. Yeah. I mean, we could help
Yeah.
heal so many if we
We
could just
can.
look at
And
each other and see them whole. You know
yeah.
what? You got pummeled, right? But we're like a piece of the divine. Like, so
Yes.
hello.
And we meet people where they are, because sometimes you're not in a good space. Sometimes you're having a tough day. And to have somebody say, oh, you're good, that doesn't get you where you want to go. You need to be acknowledged. Step one, acknowledge people where they are.
Yes.
Acknowledge where they are. I know this is a really challenging situation for you. that your home just burned down. If you live in Southern California right now, there's some massive fires and a lot of people have lost their homes. So I get it. That's really challenging. That is really tough. Number one, acknowledge where you are. Number two, appreciate how strong and resilient they are. That there are
Yes.
two key things that you have. You're capable, which are your personal skills and abilities, the things that you know how to do,
Mhm.
and you're resourceful. You know how to Google. I mean, if you know how to Google, you know how to try to find resources, right? You know how to ask people, where would I find this? Or what can I do for that? And people will help you. There's so much love and compassion here when you ask for assistance. And so often we're told not to, that we have to be in an exclusive in and of ourselves. No, no, no. To be both capable and resourceful. So be resourceful and make that connection. So first, acknowledge where they are. Second, appreciate their skills and abilities. And third, celebrate who they are, acknowledge their progress.
It's the
Yeah,
see them well, see them getting up and going because
yeah,
next month it could be you, and you want those people to see you getting back up and helping you get up, right? And
yeah,
and and think that that awareness is becoming more and more. I really do see that. We have this world that I see. There's one winner, and everybody's stepping on each other to get to one. Whereas there's this whole other new space, which you're sharing, where people are lifting each other. It's
yes,
not about, right? It's about seeing people whole and about seeing that we're all love, right? And that, yeah, like we just that whole, that all comes from within us.
yeah,
And so when we're
yeah,
putting somebody down and judging them, that's your right, and we don't understand that, right? And until we do, we get to sit in the cesspool ourselves and keep spewing out the cess to other people, it's to separate from that is has need people like Elaine Starling to explain, because it's amazing people come through my life, and that I have been blessed with through this podcast. And it's really hard to separate and see actually who we are. That we're not this body, we're not those problems, we're not that story, we're not our ancestors' baggage that we pulled in here with, right? Like, but we don't, I think that knowledge is, well, it's everything,
yeah.
right?
I want to speak to your point about conflicts and all the polarity that's going on right now. And I was meditating and I received an image of a bay with a bunch of boats on the side because the tide was out. And I was shown that when the tide comes back, it goes into the lowest valleys first. It fills the ruts and the deep spots first before it gets to the rest. And then it finally gets to the boats and then it lifts all the boats equally. And I was reminded that those who most need love are those who have forgotten how to love.
Right? That's so, oh, well, how do we love ourselves? Like, we don't even know, right? Like, how do you love yourself? Okay, well, I went for a massage, or I took myself out for dinner, or I took the afternoon off. Right? It's not enough. Like, that's not the right. We have to be able to go and close our eyes and breathe into our heart space, like you started this podcast off with. And that's where the change is. That's where the power is. That's where our love is, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the
And
only place where we're going to be able to get rid of the judgment and the fear and the sickness and the is to breathe and open up that heart.
and
And
there's also an exercise that really makes a difference. I call it my daily celebration. And I actually do this with a friend of mine who lives on the opposite side of the continent from me. She's a very different person, totally different business, different industry. She's got kids. I don't. I mean, it's just really different lives. And we celebrate each other every day. So Monday through Friday, I send her an email with a list of what I want to celebrate from the day before and staking a claim on what I will be celebrating for today. Here's what I'm working on today. And then life happens and things change. And having done this exercise, I started this when my parents were very ill and we were helping take care of them. But I was beating myself up all the time for not making more progress in my business. And it wasn't until I really tracked, what am I doing with my time? and I realized how much time I was spending with my parents, which is exactly what I wanted to do. That was the most important thing for me, in my opinion. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, I can give myself more credit and I don't beat up on myself anymore because now I have an objective perspective on who I'm being. Now, the cool thing is, I get her daily celebration and she's freaking amazing. So I reply, and next to each one of her bullet points, I celebrate her accomplishments. I share tools and resources. I make introductions, anything that can help her achieve her goals. And I'm just uplifted by how amazing this person is. And I get to have a relationship with her. Wow. And then I get her email back to me, raving about me and all that I've accomplished. And I'm like, wow, I didn't see it that way. So there are things that you can do to get a whole new perspective on who you are. And one of the most important things is celebrate who you are. I shared another quick exercise
And
that
you're
I love to
accountable
do.
there, right? You've got somebody
Yeah,
celebrating you. So you're accountable to
yeah,
celebrate yourself, right? And then always the good in the giving, right?
always.
I mean, when you get an and lifting somebody, it's tenfold, I think, for the person that's holding that space, right?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
really take a look at, what are you putting into the mirror of the universe? One of the things I like to do, and we did it right before we got started today, I like to say, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. And really feel that in my body. Just feel the delicious celebration for life. Because every time I do that, I immediately get that reflected back to me nanoseconds later, more to be happy about, more to be grateful for, more to enjoy about life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, the people that have no homes and it's burned to when they had all that, they probably weren't able to even notice, wow, I'm really grateful for this space. I'm really grateful. Wow, I love that bath. I'm really great. Now that that's gone or whatever, like Mel Gibson, he was like, I had like some really amazing books and the pictures, right? There's some things that are right. And just that is still there. But so it'd be a daily practice. And I love that you have the the accountability with somebody, right? I had
I
that
call
for
it an
a year and
abundance
did a course
buddy.
and
Of
had a
course,
buddy, and it's
I
powerful.
yeah, I call
Show
it an
up.
abundance buddy because it gets that energy of abundance going.
Let's
It
talk
gets me
about
in that
abundance.
space of celebration.
Abundance ambassador. I mean, seriously, I love this because everybody doesn't have enough, right? We come into where, we all think we're not enough. We don't, we're all trying to be. Anyway, talk to us about how the shift, what like let's share this information because it's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, we are all deliberately given the limiting belief, I am not enough. Why? Because every time we go a little bit out of alignment, thinking I'm not enough, it's a reminder, reconnect to the divine, to the God of your understanding. I was shown like trying to run a three-legged race. If you remember when you're a little kid and you were partnered with another kid who's a different height than you are, and your two central legs are tied together, and then you're supposed to run this race, right? And you've got different leg lengths, and it's just a mess and it's very challenging. Well, you are tied to the God of your understanding. And if you think that you're in charge and it's all on you, you're dragging the divine behind you with every step. And that's a lot of work. It's a lot more difficult than it needs to be. So instead, when you partner up with the divine, with the God of your understanding, then everything becomes easier. And how do you do that? 3 deep breaths. I am consciousness. Sink down into that space of infinite divine grace that is inside you. Start talking to yourself with what you choose to achieve. Own your power, declare your power, acknowledge your power without knowing how it's going to show up. Yet that's none of your business. It's going to come in miraculous ways. And then every time you get an inspiration, share it with other people. Tell people what came through for you and what you think it might mean. More meanings, more insight, more perspective will come to you. Tomato juice? Really? Wow, freaking miracle.
Well, Elaine, also you touched on earlier, right? Like asking. I learned I didn't grow up with a relationship with God or Jesus, or I saw spirit as a child, and so I always knew, but I had the knowledge. I didn't have that. I didn't grow up like that. So totally ignorant to all of the whole area, right? But I was on my knees, and it was like, you ask and you're given. And I swear to God, I have a connection that, I mean, I was like, dad, that people lie, cheat, and steal all day and then they're forgiven on Sunday. And that's what I was raised with, right? And it felt uncomfortable for me when I would go in the church because it was to me, and I didn't really, I just wasn't being raised in that. Yeah, we're connected. And yeah, Sedona, full moon, Easter weekend, blah, 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 blah. And I literally was doing an intuitive class, and we were doing one on, doing a reading for somebody else, like having that download. And yeah, just totally experienced. I'm like, okay, my mind's actually shaking. There's an energy. And Jesus was speaking through to this woman whom had asked, anyway, it was bizarre and way over anything I'd ever experienced before. But I'll tell you what, there's this vision, and it's like my buddy, right? Like when I ask for whatever I envision, like I feel this, right? I got you. It's weird. It's not or like not what I perceived my
Yeah.
whole life or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
Right? Like it just, and it's not about church, and it's not about anything, but there is I know positive and negative entities that we're sharing this space with, but if we're coming from love and we're coming from the heart, and I am, I am part of the divine, I am love, I am like, I write all over my mirrors, affirmations all over the time. And then when I get downloads, I just grab pen, because then it's always in my face, right? And I'm always getting, new ones that I'm loving for the, I hear like, you'll be sharing, oh, I love that, right? And just putting in new
yeah. It's
right,
really
that's kind
powerful.
of,
So I really encourage everybody, get into that space of connection, whatever it is that works for you. It could be prayer, it could be affirmations, it could be 3D breaths, it could be
golf.
meditation,
It can be
whatever.
golf,
Do
because
that.
don't think you've got to just be, right?
Yeah, you get to just be and connect with that divine entity, and then step into grateful curiosity. Grateful curiosity is the most powerful human state of being. It is your creative state of being. You step into a situation not knowing what's coming, right? You had no idea what stories I would share or where this conversation would go. You step in with grateful curiosity, welcoming the blessings that are present for you.
Yeah.
And then you receive them.
And doing that, right? Because we're in our head, right? And it's stopping us. But as soon as you just stop that for just a moment and walk through that fear, it's really big, isn't it?
It is. It's
Mhm.
really amazing.
And then you connect, and then you're in the flow, and then all of a sudden, you connecting, and it feels so good, right? Like
Yeah. And
that's
one of the biggest
the
mistakes
biggest
people
gift.
make is they wait. They figure, well, I won't feel good until I have the New York Times bestseller. I won't feel good until I'm married to that guy. I won't feel good until. No, that's backwards. So, whatever it is you choose to achieve in your life, see it as complete and done to your full satisfaction, and feel that in your body. Feel the sensations that this is real. This has happened. You are living this now, and really soak that in to your body. Then get into that grateful curiosity and start taking action towards what you want to accomplish. Baby steps are the most important thing. And put your focus on your progress with the baby steps, not on, but I still have all this other stuff to do before I get my big deal. Focus on those baby steps, because the divine has much bigger plans for you than you could ever imagine. You are demonstrating your power and your desire. You are guiding the divine through that energy inside you, saying, this is how I choose to feel. and everything starts to align with how you already feel. This or something better. You've heard that before. That's what it's all
they
about.
say as soon as you're in that state, the universe has no choice but to give that to you. And so the longer that you can fake and bake that, right? But I mean, yeah, I mean, feeling how I like, how do I want to see myself, right? Like, what's the best version of myself? Like, how do I want people to experience me, right? Do I want, right? Just peaceful, loving support. Do you know what I mean? Or do I want to be like all scattered and ungrounded? Or do you know what I mean? The different parts of myself right now, right? So if I can see myself, that visual, like you're saying, and then you can feel your best day or feel your favorite place. It's this right now, so powerful for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. How long was this stroke that you had? How old were you?
It was on New Year's Day, 2005.
2005. Wow.
So a little ways back, and boy, I've come a long way, baby.
That TED talk that you did, a TEDx presenter, is that how you say that?
It's a TEDx talk called Abundance is a Choice.
Really, really suggest that listen to that and watch that. It's really, 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 really good stuff and simple, basic information that we all know. But if we were just doing that mindfully and dayfully and right, how different our life would be.
Very true. Very true. And the thing, you know, as human beings, we think it has to be complicated, but in our heart, loving
that's what we've been told, right? We've been told you cannot make any money unless you work very, very hard. It doesn't go on trays. There isn't enough. And right. So we all are in this state of fear. Right?
And one of the messages that I received during my stroke is whatever you believe is true for anybody else, just for you. So pick your beliefs very clearly. You know, it's funny. I go walk every morning. I'm going to have to leave in just a minute here. And often I'd be out for a walk and all these downloads would start coming through. And I'm like, I don't have a phone. I don't have a piece of paper. I can't write any of this down. What are you doing to me? And finally I got smart and I said, okay, my subconscious mind remembers absolutely everything. And as soon as I sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, I will ask the divine to repeat what they told me and all the messages will come through, this or something better. And it works. It really works.
Does.
Acknowledge your power. Acknowledge your power. If you got nothing else out of this conversation, please acknowledge your power.
It works with things that you lose. Yep. Our subconscious mind knows where it is just because we don't remember. It's really, you can really have fun with it, can't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that you have to run. I would love to catch up with you again soon. And I'm going to put your website, all of your information when we post this podcast. Perfect. And I hope that you'll come and join me again.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to have you on the Abundance Journey show. That'll be a lot of fun.
Thank you for the invite. I really am excited about it.
Oh, thank you. And love and blessings. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for hanging out and learning with me about how we can become the best version of ourselves. See you next time.